Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, we're going to focus on the Dow Industrials today, take a look at the daily, weekly, and Elliott Wave picture, take a look at one of our indicators that is, kind of surprising actually, and showing some pretty significant weakness. And then we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust ETF and Bitcoin futures. Okay, so let's start off here with the side-by-side of the industrials, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ 100. The Dow was down 794 points here this last week. Right there, you can see it, 793.68. And what's interesting is, the prior 2 weeks had been within the trading range of the week of December 15th. And by the way, on my charts, when it says week December 15th, that means the week of starting that Sunday, December 15th. Okay. And so we closed below the low of that week. And kind of interesting in terms of the weakness. We'll see what kind of follow through we get. We're still fighting a pretty strongly rising 21-week moving average in here, but we've had a lot of divergence that's been building. And over here on the S&P 500, it's even more negative in terms of the divergence that's been building. And the SPX was down 115.43 this last week, closing below the trading range of the last 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks. So, and let me just validate that. The low, 5829.53. Yeah, we closed below it. I thought we did just by eyeballing it, but we definitely did. And, some pretty significant weakness kicking in. Now, the NASDAQ 100 down 478.58. Not nearly the damage in terms of what's showing here on the SPX in terms of the number of weeks that it's closing below, but still looks like a pretty strong move to the downside. Let's go back. I'm going to take a look at the Dow Industrials. So here's that weekly picture we were just looking at. Here's the daily, down 696.75 on Friday. So we're starting to get a pretty strong rollover in here on the daily chart. And, the interesting thing is it's been quite a while since I've had that 21 come down, 21 simple moving average break below the 55. And we're having that occur for the first time in a long, long time. Last time was April of last year. Now, we didn't get a significant amount of follow through to the downside in there, but we also didn't have nearly the divergences that we're building up that we have this time. So going to be interesting to see what kind of follow through. I'm expecting when I look at the Elliott Wave picture, and let's just look at that right now. Let's go here, and I'm going to focus on the weekly just to give a little higher level picture. I'm expecting a little more volatility in here for a fourth wave. The second wave we had right here on a sharp pullback. I think the third wave finished right at the high that occurred here on November, towards the end of November. And now I wouldn't be surprised to see, an Elliott Wave flat, which is something, like it could be something like this. Could be a combination of a flat and a triangle. We could come down a three wave, and just oscillate sideways. Okay, so when you have a sharp zigzag type pattern like here, I look for the opposite for a fourth wave. So that would imply a sideways type movement for corrective action. But that just because it's sideways doesn't mean you can't have a whole heck of a lot of volatility. And by the way, this is my target retracement level of 38.2%. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about retracing as a percent of wave 3. And that brings you right down into just the top of the prior fourth wave of one lower degree. So if I had to say, where's my target? It's down here around 38,862. Let's round it. 39,862. And so that doesn't mean that if we get there that it's going to end, because we could continue to oscillate. That's why we got to look to see what kind of wave structure are we getting. So that's the picture. We've got, significant divergence that are showing up here. Let me look. Let's just take a look at the daily real quick. When I look at what's going on with this choppiness that's been happening here since December 20th, this looks like, when you drill down into subwaves in lower degree, this looks like a three wave, this looks like a three wave, and then at the very lower time frames, this looks like a five wave. Because this is more of a three wave, I'm saying, okay, I think the B wave may have ended right here. Okay, a corrective sideways type move. And I'm calling this an A wave because of how straight and fast and relentless this was. So I'm looking at it from this standpoint and say, okay, we're getting what looks like a zigzag type pattern in here for the first three wave move, and we'll see how much more do we get. Just because this was this big, we may only get 61.8% of that, or we may get 100% of it in terms of equality. The C wave that you're targeting down here. So we'll keep an eye on it, see. And again, for a C wave, if this is truly playing out like that, the C wave is either going to be an impulse wave structure or an ending diagonal pattern. Okay, so that's where we sit with the Elliott Wave picture. We got more volatility to come in here before this fourth wave is finally done, and it may take several months for that to work its way out. And then we're going to take off for another leg up for the fifth wave of the third intermediate wave. Okay, let's take a look at one of my indicators I look at. Let's take a look at the percent of stocks above their 200-day moving average in the S&P 500. And I'm just going to look at the weekly view for now. Okay, so on Friday, we closed at 48.91%. This is the first time we've closed below the 50-50 level since back over here, November of 23. Okay, so the two things are jumping out at me. Number one, this trend line right here I've got, which basically says this indicator did not confirm the continued movement higher in the S&P 500 between March and September. Okay, and the other thing that this looks like to me, we have a lot of this price action, a lot of this indicator movement was up here in this, 60% to 80% level for an extended period of time. This was the entire 2024, okay? And then we started to break down towards the end of the year. And it's kind of interesting when you see that. So I look back and say, okay, well, when's the last time? And I know you sit back and say, well, okay, that's the most recency type of thinking. And well, and just to make it easy, I look back to say, well, when is the last time that happened? Well, something very similar happened right here with 21. We had significant divergence between the peak in April of 21 and January of 22. And, the market had kept going up. This did not confirm it. And then you have this big movement that just stayed up here, elevated, well above the 50% level. And then we finally broke down in there. So I guess the point I'm making here with the move below the 50-50 level is to just say, it's like a little flag raising now. To say, okay, this is some significant weakness that we are seeing that we did not see at all in 2024. And it could be an indication, a prelude of more to come. And so that's why we're going to be keeping an eye on it to see if do we start to get something like this or what? And this happened in 21, leading into 22. Seemed like it happened once before too. I mean, pretty elevated where it just stayed above that 50-50 level as the market was kind of trending. You didn't get the divergence showing up that much. And then, of course, you had the big COVID crash in 2020. But this is going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Okay, I'm going to look at GBTC first, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And right now, the Elliott Wave picture I've got is I'm expecting more corrective action to occur. I'm expecting a pullback in here down to about the 65, 66 level, which is a 38% retracement of this third wave. And, you know, we've been just kind of stalling out a little bit. Thought we were maybe getting a little move here, but no, it came right on back. And still looking for this to come down. And then the other thing I noticed is look at this big old gap sitting right here. Would not be surprised at all to see that gap close. Okay, and here's how it looks on a weekly view. We've got this channel, basically, you know, connecting 2 and 4, projecting from 3 out up in here. Once 4 is done, then we could start to assess, well, where could the 5th wave be, you know, as a target for finishing. But right now, we got to get wave 4 to complete first. So the other thing that I've noticed about this, and you'll see it on the Bitcoin futures too, is look at this daily chart. I mean, this is a pretty clear looking head and shoulders type pattern. Now, we need to get a close down below the neckline for a break. And, you know, when you measure from the top to the neckline, project on down, what does it do? It comes really, really close to closing that gap. We're talking about a gap that was formed on November 11th. Okay, so let's take a look at Bitcoin futures. Okay, so here we are. Here's November 11th. Here's that gap. We come down and close that gap on Bitcoin futures, it'll be hitting 78,000. Now, I don't quite know because I'm not trading Bitcoin futures. I do have a very small position in Bitcoin itself. But so if the futures get to 78, I'm not sure quite what the difference is. Let me check something real quick. Yeah, I don't know. They may be close. I'm looking at Bitcoin right now as it's trading live here on Saturday afternoon, early afternoon. It's at 94,188. And where did the futures close on Friday? At 95.20 or 95.210. So a little bit, not much of a difference. So we come down into here, close a gap at 78,000 on the futures, and I think that Bitcoin itself is probably going to be in the upper 70s, you know, 78 to 80-ish kind of thing. So we'll see what happens, and then it may be time to reload. So we'll see. Let me go back to Bitcoin. Let me close with the Elliott Wave picture, and let me just show the weekly view. So that's what we've got right now. We'll see how long does it take for this 4th wave to finish off. Then we'll go from there. Everyone, if you felt like the video was helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit that little subscriber button. And if you'd like more of this information on a regular basis, head on over to joehenches.net. Everyone have a great week. We'll talk to you on the next video.